noise of the rushing world. A gentle voice, a story unfurled, wisdom from a distant shore, opening a brand new door.
The air outside has shifted. Perhaps you felt it too. That subtle change in the temperature of the wind that signals a season in transition. Whenever we stand at the threshold of change, our hearts tend to ripple with an unnameable restlessness. It might be a day where the sunlight feels unusually piercing, or perhaps an afternoon where the rhythmic tapping of rain against the glass invites a quiet melancholy. Regardless of the weather surrounding you, I want to extend a peaceful greeting to your heart. Imagine for a moment that you are stepping away from the noise of the world and into a silent, sun-drenched room reserved only for you. Today, we are exploring a profound piece of wisdom. Let It Just Pass By Dr. Park Young-gyu. Dr. Park is a political scientist and a humanist who has spent decades drawing wisdom from the deep wells of Eastern philosophy to offer healing to the modern soul. Specifically, he turns to the Tao Te Ching of Lao Tzu to answer a question we all ask. How do we live in this chaotic world without losing ourselves? His answer is deceptively simple, but life-changing. It isn't the situation itself that hurts us. It is our own attachment, our refusal to let the situation go. In this book, Dr. Park organizes Lao Tzu's ancient thoughts into 8 transformative keywords: Dam, Dan, Sa, Ri, Kyom, Kyom, So, and Dan. It is a journey into the paradox of life. The idea that we are only filled once we truly empty ourselves. Reading his words feels like sipping a cup of clear mountain spring tea. In a world obsessed with stimulation and speed, he offers a warm hand, whispering that it is perfectly okay to let things simply drift past. As we walk through these 8 steps together, I invite you to loosen your shoulders, breathe deeply, and open the ears of your heart. These are not just ancient verses. They are practical tools for anyone tired of comparing themselves to others, anyone exhausted by the hustle, and anyone seeking a clarity that doesn't depend on external success. Let us begin our ascent through these 8 stages of the soul. The first story, Dam. The aesthetic of a clear and mild life. I look in the mirror today and see eyes that are tired from constantly wanting more. Lao Tzu once said that when the Tao, the way, is spoken aloud, it tastes bland. It has no flavor. This is a startling thought. We spend our lives chasing the spicy, the intense, the exciting, the grand achievements. Yet the foundation of the universe is described as tasteless. Dr. Park invites us to find beauty in this mildness, this dam. Think about the food that sustains us. Longest it is water and plain grain, not the heavily seasoned delicacies that eventually make us sick. Our souls are the same. Intense emotions and flashy successes are like bright lights that eventually blind us. Dr. Park teaches that a bland heart is actually the most resilient. It is a state of equilibrium where you are not tossed about by the highs of praise or the lows of criticism. When I reflect on this, I realize how much energy I've wasted trying to keep life exciting. There is a profound power in being like clear water. It doesn't demand attention, yet it gives life to everything it touches. To live mildly isn't to live a boring life. It is to live a life so pure that it cannot be tainted by the world's noise. The second story, Dan. The architecture of simplicity. Modern unhappiness often stems from having too many choices and too many possessions. Lao Tzu taught that while learning. Add something every day. Following the Tao means dropping something every day. Look around your room. Look at the clutter, the things we keep, just in case. Now, look inside your mind. It is likely more crowded than your closet regrets from 10 years ago, anxieties about next week, and the heavy weight of what other people think. Dr. Park suggests that simplicity, Dan, is an act of courage. It is the bravery to decide what truly matters and to ruthlessly discard the rest. Like a complex math problem that becomes elegant once you find the core formula. Our lives become beautiful only when we strip away the excess. I've started practicing this myself. Every time I let go of a physical object or a nagging thought, I feel a literal expansion in my chest. Simplicity is a fortress when you want less. The world has less power over you. You become unshakable because your happiness isn't tied to 1,000 different threads. It's rooted in the few things that are real. The third story said, the courage to discard. The third keyword is the act of letting go. Dr. Park observes that we suffer because of our clenched fists. We hold on to money, reputation, and even toxic love so tightly that our palms bleed. Lao Tzu warned that trying to fill a cup to the brim is a recipe for spilling. And over-sharpening a blade ensures it will quickly blunt. If your hands are full of yesterday's burdens, how can you receive today's gifts? I invite you to open your hands right now. Think of the relationships that drain you, the grudges you nurse like a sick pet, and the expectations that no longer serve you. Letting go. Sa isn't about losing. It's about creating space. When we stop trying to control how others see us or how the future unfolds, we finally experience the lightness of being. I've realized that some things aren't meant to be fixed. They are meant to be left behind. There is a magnificent freedom in saying, I no longer need to carry this. The fourth story, Rai. Lee, the wisdom of distance. How do we stop the pain from consuming us? Dr. Park suggests the art of distancing. When you are drowning in a problem, the world feels like it's ending. But if you step back and become an observer, you see that the problem is just a passing cloud. From a distance, even a tragedy can begin to look like a necessary chapter in a larger story. I've learned to treat my emotions like the weather. If sadness arrives, I acknowledge it. It is raining today, but I don't pretend that I am the rain. By maintaining a healthy distance from our drama, we regain our objectivity. Let it just pass by. These words become a shield. You don't have to engage with every insult or react to every setback. You can simply stand on the shore and watch the waves crash, knowing that you are the shore, not the wave. This perspective doesn't mean we don't care. It means we care enough about our peace to not let it be stolen by temporary things. The fifth story, Gyum. The strength of the lowly. The fifth keyword brings us to the famous philosophy of water, Shangshan Ruoshui. The highest good is like water. It benefits all things without competing, and moves toward the low places that humans despise. Dr. Park explains that true power doesn't come from climbing over others to reach the peak. It comes from the humility gyum of being like the ocean, which sits below all rivers and thus receives them all. In my own life, I've often felt the pressure to prove I'm better or smarter, but that is a fragile way to live. When you are at the top, you are always afraid of falling. But when you are content to be in the lowly place of service and humility, you are invincible. Humility isn't about thinking poorly of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less. It is the vastness of a heart that can embrace anyone because it has no ego to defend. Like water, we can be soft, yet eventually wear down the hardest stone. The sixth story, Geom. Conserving the inner fire. Frugality. Geom is often misunderstood as being cheap with money, but Dr. Park teaches a deeper frugality. Being careful with your spiritual energy. How much of your soul fuel do you waste every day? Think of the energy spent hating someone, worrying about a hypothetical crisis, or performing a persona for social media. We are living in an era of spiritual burnout because we are leaking energy in every direction. Lao Tzu said that because the sage is frugal, they can be generous. By conserving your inner fire, you have the warmth to help others when it really counts. I've started asking myself, is this conversation thought worth my energy? If not, I withdraw. This isn't being cold. It's being a good steward of my life. When you stop the leaks, your inner reservoir fills up, and you find yourself moving through the world with a quiet, steady vitality that others find magnetic. The seventh story. So, Xu. The revolution of slowness. We live in a world that worships speed. If we aren't first, we feel we are last. But Dr. Park reminds us of the wisdom of Seo, the slow, deliberate pace of nature. Muddy water becomes clear only when it is left still. A fruit only becomes sweet if it is given time to ripen. You cannot scream at a flower to bloom faster. I struggle with this. I want results now. But urgency is often just a mask for anxiety. The philosophy of slowness isn't about being lazy. It's about rhythmic living. It's about walking at a pace where you can actually see the trees and feel the air. When we slow down, we stop making reactive mistakes. We find the Tao in the waiting. Do not hurry, but do not stop. When you move with the rhythm of your own soul, rather than the ticking of a global clock, you realize that you were never behind to begin with. You are exactly where you need to be. The eighth story. Dandon. The sharpness of decision. The final keyword is the culmination. The power to cut off. Dan, you can understand all the wisdom in the world, but if you don't act, it's just more clutter in your mind. This is the stage where we decisively cut the threads of old habits, toxic relationships, and the old self that no longer fits. Lao Tzu said that he who conquers himself is truly strong. This kind of cutting is an act of supreme self-love. It's the moment you stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I am done." I have found that once I make a firm decision to cut out a negative influence, the universe seems to conspire to help me. This decisiveness is what keeps our inner space clean. It ensures that the peace we've cultivated through the other 7 steps isn't ruined by a lack of boundaries. We must be the gatekeepers of our own hearts, closing the grace of letting go. As we reach the end of our journey through Dr. Park Young-gyu's insights, I hope you feel a little lighter. Perhaps that heavy stone you've been carrying in your chest feels a bit smaller now. This book doesn't demand that we become perfect, enlightened beings overnight. Instead, it invites us to simply relax our grip. The title, "Let It Just Pass By," is a promise. Life will send waves. Some will be ripples, and some will be giants that look like they might swallow you whole. But remember the wisdom of the shore. The wave is only temporary. It comes, it breaks, and it recedes. If you try to fight the wave, you will be crushed. But if you let it pass through you, you remain washed clean and still standing. I want to encourage you to hold these 8 keywords close to you. When the world gets too loud, remember damn mildness. When your house or mind feels too full, remember Dan's simplicity. When you are hurting, remember Rye distance. And when you feel the urge to rush, remember So slowness. Tonight, before you sleep, I hope you can open the windows of your mind, let the stale air of today's worries blow out, and let the cool, fresh air of the present moment blow in. Whisper to your anxieties, "You may pass through, but you may not stay. You are the master of this room. You are the protagonist of a life that is still unfolding in beautiful, quiet ways. Thank you for spending this time with me. It has been a joy to share these reflections with you. I hope the seeds of this wisdom find fertile ground in your heart and bloom into a lasting serenity. May your sleep be deep, and may your waking be gentle. Until we meet again in this quiet space, please be kind to yourself. You are doing much better than you think. Peace be with you.